Hi there, and welcome back to the Energy Sector Heroes podcast. My name is Michelle Fraser, and every week I will speak with incredible people who share their lessons, experiences, and stories from their time spent in the energy sector. Hi there, and welcome back again to this week's episode. If you're new to the show, then please take a second to subscribe and even consider sharing the show with just one other person. This week, I am joined by Leyla Rasulzade. Leyla is a member of the Women in Renewable Energy, which I'm actually quite excited about. Leyla, would you like to introduce yourself, please?
Thank you so much for the introduction. I'm very happy to join this podcast. Thank you so much for reaching out. In fact, and indeed, I am a member of Women in Renewable Energy, a freshman, I would say, on the level of volunteer. I'm looking forward to getting a bigger level from here and very excited to be here. Thank you so much.
That is excellent. And how did you get involved with the Women in Renewable Energy?
A good question. It happened last November when, and I'm, by the way, originally from Azerbaijan, born and bred, traveled around the world, and my journey brought me back in 2017. So since 2017, I have been involved and worked in multiple economical sectors, government and private. But my journey brought me to Wire and it's the shorter version of Women in Renewable Energy, before COVID. So it started from January of 2024. I met a wonderful member from multiple chapters. So what means for Wire, they separate the regions into chapters. We have the European chapter, we have the West Asian chapter, and each chapter has those advocates, members, and senior members even. So I met one of them from a wonderful Abu Dhabi, and she helped me to kind of prepare myself for COP29 in Azerbaijan. She guided me through what happened a year before in Dubai with COP28 and how to understand it and how to benefit and kind of be involved in it. So that was my first introduction. And she introduced me very kindly to this entire Wire message, which is, again, helping and supporting women in renewable energy sector, guiding them through projects, and even benefiting from the fact that in the global environment where you have multiple chapters, multiple members and head of those chapters, they come together to create this amazing projects that bring big benefits actually around the world, including African region. I can name a lot of, by the way, projects that they have made. But so after that, in November of COP29, they were kind enough to grant me an access to the Blue Zone. So just a quick information here. So COP usually, regardless of the location that it's happening, divides itself as an event into two parts. So Green Zone is the smallest one, but the biggest one is Blue Zone. And the all action, all the documents, all the high level that we can imagine, like literally deciding the fate of many countries in the world, happens in the Blue Zone. So I was granted that access as an observer, which opened many doors to me personally and made me understand how far we are as, simple human beings in a day-to-day life. To be introduced to that world meant a lot to me personally. So that's how I got introduced. And immediately after 30 days of participation, I had much ideas, and we're working on that today. I literally had a meeting with the head of Wire yesterday. So I'm very excited to share my observations and then contribute my ideas and make that ideas become a project that hopefully will benefit a lot of people in the world.
Okay, so what type of projects are you working on?
One of my ideas and one of my observations that led me to this idea was I saw how many people were lost in agricultural, let's say, sector. So I saw delegations, for example, from Africa, and they saw multiple pavilions of countries that are far ahead of many. I would say more than 60% of countries are unaware of a green economy. They don't know how to transition into it. That's for sure. So imagine those people, they have lands and lands available, and they're at the heart of action, and they're not informed or not properly informed, of how to use it. So I saw one of the farmers. She told me that her land extended miles and miles away, but she lost her produce because she can't sell it all. So she started from the production of, for example, bananas. And I told her it's very easy to use because have you heard about the 1 billion market that is available on the tip of your fingers? You have to turn the peels, you can sell them separately to countries that indeed need that for their soil. And then you can kind of turn the banana itself as a fruit into a dust. And then you can sell it for milkshakes and ice creams around the world. And it's a lot of money as well. And she didn't know about it. So what I'm working today is I think I'm going to aim to produce a book and then a teaching method for schools on a junior level and corporations on a high level, and even suggested to government entities, those institutions that are directly responsible to help the country or guide the country to transition into green economy. What is green economy? The elements of it and how to transition to it, how to teach the young generation, the next generation, into what it is, and actually create maybe a comic book for juniors and create a hero from it. A green hero that guides them since the junior years into green economy. So how to recycle, for example. What is a recycle? Why we should implement it in our daily lives? Why we should take a bottle with us every time we want to buy a liquid product, for example, and how to wash it, how to save more water and then electricity, and how to produce free electricity. So imagine kids of my generation, 80s and 90s, our comic book heroes, they were fighting battles to save the world. And new generation, I think they're going to fight not battles, but, you know, it's funny, but they might be fighting for energy, and the energy supply is coming to a shortage at the moment. And if we observe all the numbers, math never lies, as they say. So yeah, I'm hoping kind of to contribute to that.
No, that sounds interesting. What else did you learn from the exhibition that you were at?
On the green zone, for example, I saw much more freedom because there were events that were like in between banks, for example, National Bank of Azerbaijan or International Bank of Azerbaijan coming together with American banks, Tokyo banks, and they saw the difference in development. For example, from the States, many members of those delegations, they said that for a long time, America has been transitioning to a green economy. So they kind of very ahead of those that are asking the wrong questions from them. So they should be asking what to do next, not how to become a member of green economy society. And that was my takeaway, that not everyone in the world, and I have been observing it since 2017, you know the saying that they say, like, if I had a time machine, I would go back and do this and that, XYZ. I think we don't need that because you want to see, let's say, a country that lacks the knowledge about the green economy, or they still can't use or solidify what they have with solar energy and wind energy. You can travel south on the planet Earth. But you want to see a country that far succeeded the rest of them. You go to USA, you go to China, you go to Singapore, and even Tokyo, you will find that these people are much ahead, like 100 years ahead of those that are on the south side, I would say. The north side as well, so they're lacking something, but they have accomplished a great achievement. Their population is extremely aware of their environment, and they're extremely recycling population. So that's what we have today. The event itself showed me that the four corners of the world, they have things that they can share with the rest of the world, and some of them even don't know that it exists. And it's a lack of knowledge. It's the global knowledge that haven't, I would say, come together yet.
Okay, but how do you mean lack of knowledge?
So imagine again, on the example of the farmer. So she didn't know because she wasn't informed. And then I saw other type of farmers that already use drones to predict if the soil is good, or, for example, if the growth of the apple trees is optimized. And then you go to another corner, you meet another farmer from another country, and he says, they use drones. Like, how is it possible? I was not introduced to this type of possibilities. And the most of the events, by the way, on the blue and green zone were focused on the key players. But I never saw them inviting a mid and low players, which means mid-level is a small and medium business enterprise member or CEO of that small business that can sit in the same environment on the same panel and interrupt actually those players and say, guys, I didn't know that you could, for example, have the necessary funding for my idea. So if you have it, let's come together. I didn't see that. I saw a lot of key players just saying that, for example, they're facing a huge logistic issue. No one is solving it. And the banks were saying a simple message. I can convey it into a very simple sentence, that they still don't have list of stakeholders that are approved by the governments of the world, that, for example, this company is worth investing, and they will produce, for example, solar panels. Banks then come forth and they use what they have and they put money in it. So the banks were complaining every day, or I saw lots, I was in lots of meetings. So each meeting, any bank would come forth and say, when am I going to get the list? I don't have it. So it's a lack of firm decisions and a list of companies that are government approved. Thus, we don't have the information, we don't have the list. And many countries that are, like, including Azerbaijan, because Azerbaijan has come long way since 1847 to transition from the oil and gas economic into green economics. Today, still 90% of the economy of Azerbaijan is dependent on oil and gas. So that's what I mean when I say it's a lack of information on both ends, by the way. The government, the banks, and the mid-sized players that is the core of any economy in the world.
Okay. Do you think that that will ever change, that Azerbaijan will rely less on the oil and gas?
Yes, in fact, it's happening since 2019, because the centuries have passed since 19th century. The oil was discovered in Azerbaijan at the beginning of 19th century, and it went on and on and on. It created an oil boom in the country that was poor before 1847. So in 2019, Azerbaijan for the first time signed an agreement with Masdar, which is a company from the United Arab Emirates, for the development of renewable energy projects, particularly in solar power. This was part of Azerbaijan's strategic goal to diversify its energy source and increase the share of renewable energy in its energy mix. Then, following that contract, Aqua Power from Saudi Arabia has been involved in developing renewable energy projects in Azerbaijan as well. Their focus is particularly on solar and wind sectors. The company is also known for its commitment to clean energy and has expressed interest in participating in Azerbaijan's efforts to diversify its energy source. And in 2021, we have, as a country, Azerbaijan, signed another contract with Aqua Power, with the Ministry of Energy, to develop 240 megawatts solar power plant in the country. So after, by the way, COP29, the last event that I was in, they already announced that there's 20 upcoming contracts with multiple companies, which will, again, expand the portfolio of solar and wind energy sectors in Azerbaijan.
Okay, that's interesting. So do you think that there's going to be a lot of renewable projects in the future in Azerbaijan then?
Yes, because the government is extremely interested to develop that sector. Yes, because the surroundings and the region itself is transitioning as well. After COP29, it has pushed Central Asian countries to take it more seriously because they were participating in that event as well. Afterwards, in December and during January of 2025, I heard multiple contracts that Uzbekistan has signed with Masdar and Aqua Power. I heard I actually participated in the first ever summit in Georgia, Tbilisi, the capital city of Georgia, for sustainable green energy. They were trying to create a portfolio of SME, small and medium business enterprises, in one list, and then they were trying inside the first ever green economy summit. They were actually taking more time for Q&As for those companies to direct their questions. And it was a lot of questions. There was a lot of interesting moments where companies were actually asking banks. For example, the Asian Development Bank representative was there. And she was saying something like, okay, if you kind of achieve this numbers for me, if I see a return of investment of this type of, let's say in dollars, $120,000, then I'll increase my input in your project and I will make another donation. So we're ready to invest. So how we can transition into green energy sector was the first question of the summit. And then as it progressed, I saw a lot of companies coming forward and actually starting to have B2B meetings with Asian Development Bank, with American Bank, and there was lots of Georgian banks as well, the Bank of Georgia, TBC Bank. So they said that they're even getting ready to create portfolio for green stock option. So they wanted to advertise that to the public. So it's triggered a lot of things since November of 2024 for Azerbaijan and around Azerbaijan in the region, that, okay, we really have to take care of this, because a lot of countries, I think, they saw Central Asia, Azerbaijan and Georgia, they saw how forefront many countries have achieved in their goals, including Europe, including Asians like China. China was the biggest delegation, by the way. They showcased amazing achievements during 20 days in COP. So, and they had biggest contracts from multiple countries signed right away on the pavilion. So yeah, it was pretty obvious that it kind of triggered the region to go faster, to work faster in that direction.
No, that's amazing. Oh, so how do you think for any young graduates are going to be graduating soon, what do you think? How do you think that their careers will look like in the renewable energy space?
I think today, a lot of people think more of when they're going to lose their job, but not how they can keep their job. So in the future, I think if we start today to learn about, as myself, for example, I want to start from educational sector. My aim is to contribute as much as possible in the direction of actually learning about the green sector, finding my passion in it in a specific area, and then developing it into, let's say, a comic book, and then launching that project for schools around the world so the children can learn as well. So as an adult, I'm learning first to pass that knowledge and change it, or let's say diversify it into kids and junior messages, and then spread it around the world. Maybe even, as I mentioned before, create a superhero type of in anything actually that could attract attention of the kids. And the jobs for me, the best jobs in renewable energy would be, again, wind and solar looks like the best sector to aim to learn and to work in the future. Because again, I see a lot of gap in energy sector. I see how countries are pushing to have more cleaner energy. They want more. Each time you see anything that produces more energy in gigawatts and megawatts, you have the attention of big stakeholders, and they will kind of invest in it big time. So anything that can produce energy fast and in big quantities, that's the niche you want to be in and work in.
I think so too, actually. I do think so too. So do you think it's an important message for to involve the maybe the younger generation into educating them on how to recycle and be part of the renewables?
I'll use the actual project that I was involved last year. So since summer, I think since July, I was approached by Azerbaijan Cosmic Agency. It's the only cosmic energy. It's everything about cosmos. They teach me how there's one day in October that I didn't know. Again, I come from the perspective of just a simple human being working in my own field, art and design field, but they needed an art curator to work with the entire team that is extremely well educated and extremely involved in all cosmic things imaginable. And it's a real world. And so they told me there's one day in the world that every country that has a cosmic agency, and we're talking about SpaceX, for example, they are celebrating Day of Cosmos. So our aim this year is to inform juniors that cosmos is real, and we really need you to, if you want to, of course, to learn more about it, and how about becoming one of us, in the future. So you have to, how could we do that? There were 4 schools, and in one of them, they told me beforehand that one of them is extremely well known in the country. There's only genius kids. So imagine a kid that knows already what you know, but does better, whatever you do better. And they're geniuses. They're future Teslas. They're amazing kids. So what can you do so you could impress them? And that's when I had thought to myself, look, when I was a kid, my first joy came from reading comic books. And how about creating a comic book and then showing those kids visually the future? So we created a hero, an astronaut, that is landing in Azerbaijan in 2085, imagine. And he comes with the message that he really needs a data information, and then he needs to pass that information to far, far future. But it's the only timeline in his journey that has that information, because in the future, something really bad happens because people don't recycle. And kids had to come up with the midsection and the ending of that story. And I created a comic book with artificial intelligence. I just gave the idea, it created the script and the images, multiple images of future Azerbaijan. Imagine the eyes of those kids when they see a big screen, they see future Azerbaijan, all in green, everything green economy. Cars are flying, they're using like free energy, and then, my voice narrating the entire story until the midsection. And actually, my husband was involved as well. He was voicing the astronaut that landed in Azerbaijan. It had a massive positive feedback. I saw storylines were on my table from multiple kids, and I saw so much interest generating from that. And actually, 3 days later, I had a call from the agency, and they told me, look, already 3 kids approached the agency with their parents asking for books. So the guys, and there was like 1 girl and 2 boys, and they want to become an astronaut. And that was their dream now. So we achieved the goal. So I think, aiming and teaching the future generation must be number 1 mission from our end. As I always joke, to make sure that we, as a last generation, before going to Mars or maybe, migrating to other planets, we can actually take a long vacation before that because we teach our future generation how to recycle and how to respect the land that we live in. So I think that's very important. And that was my biggest takeaway, by the way, from the COP29.
Okay. So are you working on any other projects?
At the moment, I think there are actually a lot of work that I'm involved, but with WIRE, with Women in Renewable Energy, I think this will be the first goal. And the second goal, I'm very interested in agricultural sector. I saw a lot of lost souls. Actually, it sounds very harsh, but I want to be like transparent and truthful to what I saw. So agricultural sector in a couple of countries, they really, really need a support. And I just heard yesterday from my call that there's like a big, big project that WIRE has accomplished in African countries. And one of them is turning a school land that was not used, had no purpose, into farm, a small farm that is big enough and consistent to produce, let's say, tomatoes and potatoes. And those kids actually can just take it free of charge and bring it back home if they like the taste. So it has been implemented in multiple schools ever since, and they want to globalize this idea. And when I heard that, I just told the team at WIRE that, look, there's so much schools in Azerbaijan, especially in the north side, that have this land that they don't use. It's a massive school and it's empty. The maximum usage of what you have is a parking spot and the kids' playground, and the rest of it is empty. So it's a genius idea. And the kids will actually learn how to farm since they're 8 years old. So that's a genius idea, I think. So I think the second thing that I would focus would be definitely in the agricultural sector.
I think so, because I think it's quite an important sector as well, actually. It's vastly overlooked.
Absolutely.
When it comes to renewables.
Absolutely. And did you know that plants are also producing energy as well? And some scientists have proved that. So imagine we're going to get energy and fruits from a very small plant that produces, let's say, per year. I don't know if we were talking about the tomatoes, let's say 15 tomatoes. And we can use energy to make those tomatoes grow faster and sweeter. Also approved by scientists.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah. You just put an antenna. It looks like an antenna on top of let's say, a singular plant, grows faster, and the color is brighter, and the taste is sweeter.
Wow. I never knew that, actually. That's quite amazing.
Yeah, you can do it at home as well, by the way, with your plants, with your flowers. All of them love that energy, love that, because we live in an energy field. Even human is considered as a battery, a walking battery. And we have a painter in Azerbaijan, by the way. He lives in the old city, old neighborhood. And he refuses to wear shoes, imagine. And his answer to why you're doing this, and even if when he travels, by the way, around the world, he refuses to wear shoes. So his agenda is, it's a sickness because your feet has to touch the ground. This is how you exchange energy. So there's another scientific research that says when we hug a tree as a human being, we also exchange energy with the tree. So we take some and then we give some, because trees are also running in energy.
Yeah, I knew that. Yeah, there's much to be said to being a tree hugger.
Yeah. I remember when I was a kid, I was doing it a lot. So be in your mid-30s and then hear that, it actually makes sense, because you felt it when you were a kid, when your mind was much more open to the world. And then you see a scientific proof that it's yes, it is there. It's going to exchange energy with you. And actually, we live in an extremely energetic field on Earth. So we exchange with it if you want, if we know how to use it, and then we can stop it, and then we can wear shoes, as the painter says, and then kill ourselves, basically. So it's with him, it's very strange story. And every time he walks out his house, if there's a fan around or someone that knows him, they always take this video that he's still barefoot. He's walking to the store barefoot. He comes back. He's dressed well, but he has no shoes.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's impressive. That is impressive. So I was going to ask you, how would anybody who would like to join the Women in Renewable Energy, how can you join that?
Right. If you want to be one of the sponsors or contributors, you just have to simply email them. It's available on the website. But if you want to become a volunteer or you're as an observer, such as myself, make sure to email me. I would be more than happy to make an introduction to the team.
Because I think that a lot of young women would actually probably like to join it as well. I would have thought so, for definitely.
Absolutely. And it's not, again, they have a global message, but they work locally. They always tell me that. So the message is global, but the work is localized. So if you want to improve your surroundings, your some projects that you would like to achieve, or you have questions to be asked, make sure to get in touch with WIRE, because number one is recognition of women in renewable energy. We don't eliminate anyone else, but we know that women need a lot of support at the moment still in major global economical sectors.
I think so too, actually. I do think so too. Okay, I'm going to wrap things up. That is all the questions I have today. I would like to thank Leyla for your time. That brings us to the end of another episode. Thanks for listening, and see you next week.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Hopefully we could inspire a lot of people tonight. and there will be, if not directly involved in the renewable energy sector, at least share their experience. Even if you're, myself, I come from an extremely creative environment. Never have I ever dreamed that that environment will multiply and benefit, let's say, renewable energy sector. But then again, making stories, trying to create this knowledge base and then sharing it with the world. I think from my end, whenever I can give, I'm more than happy to share. But if you're, as you mentioned before, if you're directly involved in renewable energy sector, please, by all means, get in touch with us. I'll be more than happy to introduce you to the global team. Maybe you're the key to many, many projects that are happening or not happening, and you can open the doors for us, and doors can be open for you as well. So thank you again for invitation. Really appreciate it, and wish everyone the best of luck in 2025.
That brings us to the end of another episode. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed the show, I'd like to gently encourage you to leave a 5-star rating wherever you listen to podcasts, and share the show with another person. You can also follow me on LinkedIn or via my website, www.michellefraserconsultancy.com. Thanks again for listening, and see you next week.